Alright, what is going on, ladies and laddies? I hope your days truly have been handy so far. And in today's video, I am back with my first commentary in months. So you're gonna need to excuse me, um, just in terms of my, well, I guess how I deliver this, you could say, because obviously right now I'm already stuttering. We're only 21 seconds in. But it has been months and months since I recorded any sort of video or voiceover, anything like that. But we're back with it anyway. So this is the first one I'm recording, but it's not going to be the first one I upload. I'm going to upload one or possibly two before this. So just keep that in mind while you're watching this. It's the first commentary I've done in ages. Anyway, today I want to talk about my job as a language assistant. Now, I hear you thinking, what is a language assistant? Maybe some of my friends are watching this who already know what I do, but for anyone who doesn't really know me in real life, you probably won't know what a language assistant is. Now, a language assistant is someone, a native speaker of a language, so for me it's English. So we're just going to use the example of a native English speaker. Now, a native English speaker goes into a class in a country abroad, so for me it's France. So I go into the class and I teach either secondary school kids or primary age kids the English language. Now, the way it works for me is I am in three schools in total, one per day, and essentially what happens is I take half a class or a third of a class in some cases, and they come with me into another classroom just right next to the teacher's classroom. And what happens is I then deliver a lesson that I've created on the English language. So essentially, the idea is that you are a teaching assistant, but obviously that can vary depending on what the teachers want you to do. Now, for me, I'm less of a teaching assistant and I'm more of an actual teacher. To be completely honest, that is how it's working for me. But the classes are smaller than an actual teacher's class, and on top of that, it's not like I'm teaching the same class for the entire day, like how other primary school teachers are. And yeah, I forgot to mention that I am teaching primary age kids. So what I do typically is I prepare a lesson when I'm not at work. I'll prepare lessons for my various classes. Now these lessons differ depending on the age range and ability of the kids in terms of their English language. And speaking of age ranges, I'm teaching kids aged 3 to 11 years old. So that is a wide range of kids. I mean, obviously, imagine yourself as a 3-year-old, okay? And imagine yourself when you were 11. You were super, super different in terms of your personality, but also how mature you were and what you knew, what knowledge you had, especially of a language. And for that reason, my job is super, super varied. I mean, for the younger kids, for the 3-year-olds, it's like teaching them a song, or not even teaching them a song, playing them a song and teaching them the dance to that song, and they don't even really understand the song. So to be honest, for the 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds, it's just about letting them hear the English language, even if they don't understand it. Just letting them become adjusted to hearing it. For the 11 and 10-year-olds, so the oldest kids I'm teaching, it's more so about teaching them vocabulary and getting them to say, proper sentences and have many conversations in English. And then for the kids in between, so for the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-year-olds, it's kind of in between that. It varies from class to class, as I said. But what is the actual teaching like? Well, honestly, it is an experience. I will say that for sure. It's difficult, but it's also rewarding in the sense that you feel like you really are doing some good. You know what I mean? It's really rewarding and meriting to see the kids learning properly and understanding what you're telling them. That being said, it's not all roses and sunshine because obviously the kids can be nice and those kids are amazing. That's part of the rewarding experience is when the kids are nice. And to be honest, all of my kids find me cool because I'm different from their usual teacher. So all of the kids find me pretty, I guess pretty awesome because I'm younger than their teacher and I'm also teaching them different stuff than what their teacher teaches them. And on top of that, my lessons are kind of more interactive than the ones that their main teachers will give them. Their main teachers is usually them sitting like at their desk, and then the teacher standing at the board in typical class fashion. For me, it's much more interactive. So I think they like the classes with me much better. And on top of that, I think they think that it's cool to have a native English speaker around them. Obviously everyone around them is French or maybe from another country, but is speaking French to them. However, here comes this random Scottish person speaking in English to them in this mysterious language which they understand some of, but they don't understand all of. And I think the fact that they reckon I'm nearly bilingual is probably pretty cool. And in terms of how I address them, I said that I'm teaching them English and that I speak English with them, and that is what I do. But to be honest, I take more of a franglais approach. And for those of you who don't know what the term franglais means, franglais refers to speaking in English and French kind of at the same time. So what I do is, if I'm giving an instruction or outlining what we're going to do, I will say it in English and then I'll switch into French. Now, admittedly, that's what I'm doing right now, but actually, I'm going to change that because, like last week, an inspector came in to inspect my lessons and to see how I'm getting on, just to make sure I'm doing the right thing, teaching the kids the right things. And she said that actually the franglais approach is not good because the kids are smart. If they realise that I'm going to say it in English, but then switch into French to clarify it, they're not going to listen to the English and they're just going to wait for me to break into French. So what I'm going to start doing is teaching much more in English, almost exclusively in English, because that's the idea. The idea is the kids are exposed to the English language. The problem with that, and the reason it's difficult, is if they don't understand what you're saying, they don't understand the instructions, they're going to become demotivated. They're not going to want to learn the language. As a result, their minds are going to wander, they're going to be distracted, and as a result, they're going to start distracting other kids, and the behaviour will worsen. And because I'm not their main teacher, they kind of have a little less respect for you, if that makes sense. They're not really scared of me. They're scared of their main teacher, but not of me. That could also be because I'm maybe being too nice. I don't know. But that is my one struggle with the job is, and that's the hard part, is behaviour. Now, obviously, kids aged 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 years old, no matter how old they are, they're still kids. They're not going to be one sitting in school constantly, and they're going to act up, they're going to misbehave, and that's kind of something I anticipated. So that's the one part that I am having difficulty with. If someone asked me, Lucky, what's it like being a teacher? I would say, it's good, I'm enjoying it. But the one tough thing about it is behaviour and discipline. Because also, as a language assistant, we're not proper qualified teachers. I mean, we've had 2 weeks of training, and putting that in quotation marks, because the training was 2 weeks long, and even then it wasn't that great. 1 week of it was us being sat down and told, this is how you teach. But the second week was actually at, it was called an English camp, and it was kind of like a summer camp for French kids where they learn English, and we would do activities with groups of kids. So really, that was hands-on training, but we weren't learning. We did learn during that by kind of having on-the-job training, but at the same time, we weren't really being told what to do. So if you think about it, it was kind of only 1 week. Anyway, back to my original point. My original point is we are not allowed to discipline the children, which makes it kind of hard to know what exactly to do when they're acting up. And on top of that, if one kid's acting up, right, and the other kids see that you're not doing anything, or you are doing something about it, but you're kind of struggling, they will realise, oh, I could maybe take advantage of this and be badly behaved. So in summary, this is getting kind of long. I mean, we're on 8 minutes, 20 seconds already, but that is what it's like being a teaching assistant. Or, well, I suppose for me, to be honest, it's a full-on teacher. I mean, the job description is a teaching assistant, but I'm teaching classes by myself with no other teacher in the room, pretty much. So that is me essentially being a full-on teacher, just with 2 weeks of training. And people, keep in mind, people go to university to study for years and get degrees in this. And here's me with 2 weeks of training. But it's good. I'm enjoying it. It's a good job. It's tough. It's tiring. For 2 of my days of work, I have to wake up at 6 in the morning. But honestly, I'm quite a morning person, so it's all good. And like I said, you need to be really, really energetic with kids. You need to be super energetic to keep them interested. And as a result, it can be tiring. But it's super rewarding. The kids, for the most part, French kids are actually really nice. The discipline is much better here than it is in the UK. And the kids are much more respectful and mature as well. For example, one kid came up to me and gave me a leaf. And he said that he'd found the perfect leaf just for me and he wanted me to have it as a present, which is just the cutest thing ever. That's incredibly wholesome. But that's what it's like. It's cute, it's wholesome, it's fun and rewarding. But it can also be tough, especially when the kids decide to act up. And also when they don't understand you, that can be kind of demotivating, seeing that they're not really liking the activity. So there are pros and cons, and that's what it's like essentially being a language assistant or a languages teacher, because that's essentially what I am, a languages teacher in France. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy, please feel free to toss a like my way, and post them. Maybe even consider subscribing. That is always something you can do. And yeah, I'll see you dudes on the other side. Peace out.
Welcome to my